Start the mixing.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Brandon Baez from DOCTYPE.com. Welcome to another HTML and CSS tutorial. In last week's tutorial, I showed you guys a lot of the fundamentals of and basics of HTML, and it seemed like a lot of you guys really enjoy the fact that I'm starting to branch out from my usual Photoshop and every once in a while Cinema 4D tutorials. I understand there's just a couple there. But anyway, a lot of you guys like the fact that I'm doing HTML tutorials, and some of you have asked if I could do more than just one a week. And as happy as I would be to do that, I feel like you guys should like kind of earn it somehow. And I don't mean that in the condoning sense. I just mean that these tutorials take a long time to create, and there's a lot of effort that go into them. So I shouldn't just give them to you all willy-nilly. So what do you say we have you guys earn these two tutorials a week by, well, how about by liking them? That's nice and easy, and it doesn't really take a whole lot of commitment on your part. And let's also give you guys a objective. How about I will start creating 2 tutorials a week every Sunday and Wednesday if this tutorial gets to 600 likes before the end of the week. So before the end of the week, 600 likes, I'll start creating HTML tutorials on Sunday and Wednesday. I think should be pretty good days of the week to create tutorials. And we'll just do that until either you guys get bored or I run out of ideas. So whichever of those two ends up working for you, alright? Sound cool? Awesome. So what do you say we get going with today's tutorial? I have a whole bunch of stuff that I want to show you guys. It's just, oh man, there's so much to cover and so little time to do it per video. I don't want to make them too long, but anyway, guys, I'm going to be working with the original index.html file for our fishylabs.com website, and you'll notice that I've done just a few trimming and changes with our existing document. And for starters, I have the title a little bit different. It should be a little bit more streamlined and easy to read. And I just have our body condensed down to these 3 tags. We have fishylabs.com, our little subtext below it, and now we have a little bit of a joke here. What website has a fish for a logo, even though it has nothing to do with fish? And we'll answer that in a little bit later. 3 guesses what it's going to be, right? So, a lot of you guys were asking how we could go about inserting an image into our document here. Now, it's thankfully very easy to do. Let's go ahead and insert our logo in place of the fishylabs.com header, because let's face it, if you go to a website, it's really tacky to have a really big splotch of text at the top as opposed to an actual logo. So let's delete that and let's start typing out our image tag. So because our image tag is just a block element, it's just a thing that's supposed to show up there and it doesn't really contain anything. It's not one of the tags that has to have an opening and closing. Instead, it's just one tag. So we'll do our left pointing arrow, the letters IMG for image, you add in a space and a /, and then you close it with the right pointing arrow. So this right here is your image tag. So this right here represents an image. Now, in order to tell our document here where the image resides, we have to add in the source attribute. So this is src for source. And so we'll do our equal sign and our 2 quotation marks, and we have to designate where this image is. And there's 3 ways to go about doing that. One way is to basically hard code in the location of the image. So if we were uploading this to, you know, fishylabs.com/images, slash, we'll do the Fishy Labs. Whoops. Hey, we're supposed to do that. The Fishy Labs dash logo.png. This is a dedicated link to Fishy Labs dash logo.png, and as fine as it is to hard code it in like that, it's not exactly the best way to go about doing it. Because what if you like change the name of your website or just something like that? Something could change along the lines. All right. The alternative to this is to get rid of the http:// and instead we'll just have images slash fishylabs-logo.png. And basically what this is doing is it's telling the browser to look within the same directory as the current file it has open. So in this case it's index.html, and it's saying to look somewhere in this same area for a folder called images. So you'll see that it says images slash, so it says to go into this images folder and then find the file fishylabs-logo.png. Now you have to keep in mind that the capitals that I have here exactly match. Well, actually they don't exactly match. Well, let's fix that. So we'll have the capitalization exactly match the file itself. So if you're to open it up, this is what it's going to look like. So it's got this cool little like fish thing in fishylabs.com. Anyway, so very, very simple. And so now our document should know exactly where this file resides. All right. So that's option number 2. There's a third way to go about doing this. Let's see. So if I were to, so let's say we had another subdirectory here. So let's say we had about. So and then in here we'll have a new index.html file in here. So if we were in the about subdirectory in inside of another index, and if we wanted to designate that exact logo, if we were to type it in exactly as it is, images slash fishylabs-logo.png, it'd be looking for a folder inside this about folder, which is non-existent. It's actually up a directory, and then you can find the images file. So to do that, what you would have to do is do a .. What this is saying is to go to the root directory of the website and go from there. So no matter where you are in the website, if you were folder within folder within folder within folder, you could type out this right here, and it would whoops, I accidentally opened up After Effects. It might be popping up in a second. So by typing it out like that, see, there it goes, After Effects. It's going to tell the website to look at the root directory where all of the initial files are, and then go from there into the images folder. This is extremely useful because that way you don't have to have multiple copies of the same file all over the place, and everything can just be sorted into one folder. So you have one folder for your images, one folder for your style sheets, and so on and so forth. See, look at that. After Effects, welcome. No, you're not here for today. Sorry, buddy. So anyway, that is the purpose of adding the .. But we don't have to worry about this right this moment, so we'll just go ahead and get rid of that and just keep it as images slash fishylabs-logo.png. And what do you say we go into here? Let's try and refresh it. There we go. So now we have fishylabs.com at the top of our document. Pretty cool, huh? Alright, so now you guys know how to insert an image into a document, but there are a couple more things that we can add to our image here to make sure that it won't have any issues later on. So you notice that all we did was define an image, and it went and found that image, and it plopped it into our document here. one thing that we didn't specify was the dimensions of that file. So we understand by looking at this that it's 659 by 144, but how does the browser know that? Well, lucky for us, coding has come a long way, and now our browsers are able to basically auto-detect the dimensions of a file. But at one point, it didn't always do that. What you had to do was you had to specify that the width of that particular file was, what is it? So it's 659. So we'd type in 659, and it had a height of 144. And so if we go back to our document, it should appear exactly the same. So if you want to keep the original dimensions of your file, you do and you don't really need. Well, let me rephrase that. You can put the width and height in. It's not exactly necessary, but it might still be a good idea. Now, one benefit to defining a width and a height is that you can actually use them to scale your image in a different way inside your browser. So if I were to take this and I were to decrease it down to, let's put it somewhere in the 300 or 400 range, and if I were to decrease the height of that as well, then we could go back into our document, and you'll see that it actually rescaled that image inside our browser right there on the fly. And I should actually probably go back in and increase that a little bit, so that way it looks a little bit more to scale. Either way, you can use the width and the height to scale that image within the browser, which could be pretty handy to where you don't have to save multiple variations of the same image on your servers, which can save on file space and loading and things of that sort. But what do you say we put these back to our original dimensions here and get that all nice and pretty up there for us, huh? Okay, so another thing that you guys were asking about is how to create a link. And links are pretty easy to understand here. Let's take this H4 text and let's convert it into a link. Now, I'm going to start this new tag inside of the H4 tag. And this is the A tag, otherwise known as an anchor tag. All right, guys? So, something that you need to understand about HTML coding is that when you start a new tag inside of an existing one, you need to end that tag before the one that you started it in ends. So we started the H4, and then we started the A, so now the A tag needs to end before the H4 does. Does that make any sense? I'm hoping it does, because that's the best way I can think to explain it. So let's take this A tag and move the closing to the end of our text here. So now everything inside of this tag should be a link. But if you were to actually bring this up in our document here, you'll notice that nothing happened. It's still a regular block of text, and that's because we didn't tell our anchor tag where it should go. And the way we do that is with the Href attribute. So I believe this stands for like hypertext reference, but I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I've actually learned the meaning of Href. But anyway, you use Href just like you would any other attribute. You do the name equals some quotation marks, and inside here you could put in a link. So you could even put this as something completely irrelevant, like youtube.com, and when you go back you'll see that it changed our text into a link, and at the bottom left of the browser you see that it would go to youtube.com. However, something that could be kind of useful for you guys, if you don't really know where you want something to link to, but you still want it to show up as a link, in the Href you can simply put the hashtag or number sign, and now if you go to your website, you'll notice that at the bottom left it just shows the index.html and the pound sign, and if you try to click this, it's not going to go anywhere. So this can be helpful if you want to demonstrate a link, but not really have it do anything just yet if you haven't decided on what to do with it. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you go about defining a link. So really quick, guys, I want to go back to our image tag because there is one thing that I forgot to show you guys. Something they have to realize is that not everyone browsing the internet has eyeballs. You know, there are people that browse the internet using software that kind of speaks to them what it is that they have their mouse over, and you know, things of that sort. And to help those kinds of people out there, we have the alt tag. So this is a tag to define alternate text. So this would be our Fishy Labs logo. And so let's go back, and if I were to hover over Fishy Labs for a little while, maybe it's not going to show it this time around, but so if I were to inspect this, you should notice that it has the alt Fishy Labs logo, and that is what those particular softwares would grab and let someone know what it is that they're looking at. And it's also useful for search engines and things like that. And also, if you were to do the title Fishy Labs logo, now if we were to bring up the live preview once again, if you hover over it for a little while, now it should show the Fishy Labs logo text. So that could be helpful for like little thumbnails for accounts, or you know, there's a whole bunch of applications they could do for that. So that should be handy in and of itself. Now, while we're on the subject of images and links, it's worthy to note that you can create a link around an image. So let's start our A tag and close it after the ending of our image here. And let's do our little href equals hashtag and tab back. So now if you hover over your image, you should notice that it is a link that you can click. It turns into that little hand icon, but when you click on it, it doesn't really do anything. So you can create image links by wrapping an anchor tag around your image tag. All right, so hopefully that's pretty easy to grasp and understand here. So what do you say we move on to a couple new things here? For example, we have our block of text here, right? So we have what website has a fish for a logo, even though it has nothing to do with fish. What would we do if we wanted to put the answer to it right underneath and a little bit to the right? So somewhere right around here. Well, if you were in a Word document, all you would do is you would hit the enter key, maybe even twice, and tab over, and you would type out the answer, in this case, which would be fishylabs.com. Ha ha ha. So funny, Brandon. Ah. Now, however, what you'll notice is that even though I did that, the enter key and the tab over, it didn't do anything as far as doing the same thing inside the browser here. And the reason this is because whitespace, other than the whitespace that is between text right here, like a space, whitespace is actually ignored by the browser, and this could be whitespace anywhere. So if I had like a whole bunch of spaces between a logo, or if I had a whole bunch of white space between fishylabs.com and the rest of the paragraph, you'll notice that none of this will ever show up in your browser. And this is for the sake of what's the word I'm looking for? It's for the sake of legibility with your code. Now let me clean this back up real quick here. So what would we do in order to make this happen, and also to kind of help demonstrate to you guys what I mean by the whole legibility of code thing with white space. So what do you say we take fishylabs.com and we bring it down to a new line, and let's also bring down this text like so, and let's bring down the paragraph. So this is kind of a format that you can kind of follow. When you have a tag that has a lot of content in it, you might want to consider putting all that content into a new line here, and then that way you can kind of read it a little bit better. All right. So this sort of format here helps you to read through your code, and you shouldn't have noticed that we've done it like in the head here, all the content in the body. It's just a way to keep things organized. Now, as lovely as that is, it doesn't help our problem of putting fishylabs.com onto a new line. Of course, something that we could do is wrap fishylabs.com around a new paragraph, but that's going to cause issues and stuff like that. What we should do is create a line break, and a line break is a lot like the image tag. So you remember that the image tag doesn't necessarily wrap around anything, so it's its own tag. The break tag, which is what we're going to use to create a gap between the first line and the second line of the paragraph, operates basically the same way. So if we typed in BR and we closed it just like our original image tag, Adobe Edge Code seems to want to add in this little closing tag here, but you don't need it. So it's just BR with the / inside of the tag here. And if you go back, you should notice that the fishylabs.com is now on a new line. Woohoo! However, same thing before. I mentioned that we wanted to push this fishylabs.com a little bit over to the right, but if I were to just do the spacebar a bunch of times, it's not going to show up. So now what we need is a special HTML character to create a no break space. All right, so no break space. Remember that, it'll help you. To create a no break space, we need to do the ampersand, the NBSP for no break space, and a semicolon. This little chunk right here is a special HTML character to create a no break space, and it's basically the equivalent of the spacebar. But the great thing about this is that if we were to put 4 of these right next to each other, we'll actually see 4 spaces before fishylabs.com. So now you could theoretically put, like 500 or 1,000 of these, and you'll be able to see them all inside of your HTML. So yay, you guys know how to put in a whole bunch of spaces, even though whitespace is ignored. So now that we have fishylabs.com moved over a little bit, I kind of want to give it a little bit more pizzazz. I want to make it stand out a little bit more. And one way we can do that is by making it bold. Now, once upon a time, we used to do this by doing the B tag, which of course stands for bold. But for some reason, this is slowly dying out and being replaced by strong. I know, it's kind of productive. I feel like B should be, should be the thing, because I am the B, Anyway, so we'll open our strong tag, and then let's close it after our fishylabs.com. And so now fishylabs.com should be bold. Nice and easy, right? Now, what if we wanted fishylabs.com to be italics and bold? Again, this used to be nice and easy with the I tag for italics, but someone decided to replace this with EM for emphasis. So we'll take that and we'll move the EM after our text, and we're keeping with the idea that I showed you guys earlier, to where when you start a tag inside an existing one, you need to end it before its parent. So we started the strong, started the emphasis, ended the emphasis, then ended the strong. So I need to make it clear to you guys that if we had this emphasis outside the strong, that is technically incorrect. And if you're using like Internet Explorer, it might cause problems just because Internet Explorer sucks. Sorry about you. Sorry to those out there that use Internet Explorer. You need a new browser. So anyway, let's take a look at our new bold and emphasized fishylabs.com text. Would you look at that? It's all pretty looking. Woo! Okay, so I do believe we've covered a good amount of more of the basics for HTML. In the next tutorial, I'm going to be dabbling a little bit in CSS and how to apply it to elements like the image and things of that sort. And we're also going to be diving into div tags, which are my most favorite and most used tags of all time. They help me create all kinds of fun stuff when it comes to websites. So next time around should be a lot more exciting as far as website design goes. We've just been covering a lot of the basics and stuff like that, just because there are things that you need to know and to understand. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. And also, don't forget to leave a comment that is either amusing or, you know, kind of flattering or whatever, and I'll be more than happy to put your comment into our favorite comment section that shows up at the end of the video. And also, guys, just a quick reminder, 600 likes, and I'll give you 2 tutorials a week for HTML. Alright? Sweets. Alright, well, that's all I have for you guys for this week. I will see you on our next tutorial. Peace out.